Good afternoon, everyone. This is Teacher Dean, and today we are going over ways to remember, how to remember what we are learning. First one is forget and focus. So when we say forget, according to your college textbooks and the experts, they say one, forget your problems in class. Leave them at the door. Forget things that you have to do. Forget your chores, forget your responsibilities while you're in a learning session. Forget about things that you cannot control at this time. So you need to be present in class and forget everything else around you. The next thing is to focus. Focus on the subject matter you're learning. When you focus on the subject matter, you learn more. When you focus on what the teacher, whether they're in a Bible school, college, any learning environment, focus on what the person is saying. The next thing is to be an active learner. So what is an active learner? Active learner is a person who is part of the discussion, explains what's going on. So we're not talking about being a listener. Being an active learner, asks questions, participate in discussions. Those are what we call an active learner. The next thing, while you're in class, you need to control your state of mind. When we say control your state of mind, we mean look at your emotions. Are you having a growth mindset? Are you having a victim mindset when you're in classrooms? Victim mindset says, I can't learn anything. A growth mindset says, I will get this. I know I can make it. I know I can learn this. That's a growth mindset. Look at the emotions that are attached to your state of mind. That is some of the things that you have to look at when you are trying to remember. The last thing in trying to remember is remember to teach others back what you just learned. So whatever the subject matter is, teach others what you just learned. That is how to remember. Now, Chris says, if I want to remember something in my photography class, so he's studying photography and he wants to use one method to remember what he is trying to study. And what is he studying? He's studying placement, lighting, angles, camera, exposure. Again, he's studying placement, lighting, angles, camera, and exposure. So he's trying to remember, and he's going to use what we call acrostic sentence. So he's teaching us back what he has learned. And he wrote, people love apple, AR crazy egg hunt. Again, people loves apple, AR crazy egg hunt. That is the acrostic sentence that he's using to remember placement, lighting, angles, camera, and exposure for the photography class. Now, Victoria is telling us that for her customer service class, she wants to remember three things. She wants to remember to give good customer experience. She wants to remember to appreciate all people or persons. She wants to remember to give good purchase experience. Why? Because people, members, and customers always remember how you make them feel. So that is what Victoria wants us to remember. Give good customer experience, appreciate all people, give good purchase experience. Because people, members, and customers always remember how you make them feel. Let's look at Chris in his financial literacy class. Chris is in his financial literacy class, and from what Chris has learned, experts say you need to remember these six things: income, cash flow, liabilities, expenses, assets, and network. When you're looking at finances, remember income, cash flow, liabilities, expenses, assets, and net worth. So if your income is higher than your expenses, you're on the way to get rich. If your expenses is higher than your income, you're getting poor. Now, look at these things. Those are the 6 things that you need to remember for financial literacy: income, cash flow, liabilities, expenses, and net worth. And all the meanings are provided for you. So again, look at them and see where you fall. Examine where you are to see if you're financially stable. Now, let's look at what Amna says. Amna says to remember from my computer class, I can create this acrostic sentence. To remember Word, Access, PowerPoint, and Excel, I can write the poem, We Are Primates Essentially. Again, we are primates essentially. W for we, A for R, P for primates, and E for essential. Now, moving on. What are we doing in this section? In this section, we have some practice questions that you can type in the text entry or you can type in the comments on YouTube. And these questions are to test, see how would you make across the sentence for an accounting class? How would you make it for a psychology class? How would you make it for a music class? How would you make it for a business class? How would you make it for a book class? And may I remind you, in all classes, you need to take notes. Again, in all classes, you need to take notes. Write the notes so you can remember. Teach it back to someone else. Be an active learner. Sit at the front if you can in the class. Remember, distractions are going to be in the class. People are going to be doing things on their computers, on their phones. So it may be something that you sit at the front of the class. But again, how do you remember? 1, focus in the class. A, be an active learner. S, you need to make sure that you have a good state of mind. That is S, state of mind. And T, back to someone. Teach it back to someone in your home. Teach it back to someone in your family. Teach it back to anyone. And that is how you remember. Thank you.